Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and today's story is going to be a bit of a throwback. A good old-fashioned tale about New York State bail reform, because contrary to what we've been told by many people in the left-wing media about bail reform being rolled back without any evidence to roll it back at all, it is still active. There are still crimes that you are eligible for a same-day automatic release, and included in those crimes, apparently, is arson. So we have a story of a serial arsonist who was released from jail without any bail, because of course this person was released from jail without any bail, and immediately decided to escalate to armed robbery at a Dollar Tree, because why not? There are no consequences for these negative actions. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored, so let me toss it to the sponsor, then we'll bring it back over here, and we'll talk about it on the other side. The US national debt spike could mean a long-term boom for gold. Since March of 2020, the federal government has added $8 trillion, that's trillion with the T, to the national debt, and now interest payments on that debt supersede $1 trillion. On top of that, we have international organizations like BRICS and oil-rich nations meeting and having discussions about potentially moving away from the petrodollar. This could spell an absolute disaster and economic hardship for Americans for years to come. This is one of the reasons why I'm so happy to be partnering with National Gold Group. You can help secure your investments by backing up your retirement with precious metals. Buying gold and silver is a strategic hedge against potential future disaster, and especially when we're in a nation where 51% of Americans can't pay their credit cards, and the Build Back Better spending agenda is supposed to raise the national debt all the way through the year of 2024. Do yourself a favor and call National Gold Group at 866-826-2603 so that you can talk over your options. Make sure you mention the channel Actual Justice Warrior so that they know that I sent you. Again, that number is 866-826-2603. Call them and learn about protecting your investments today. There is always a risk with any investments, and prior performance is not a guarantee of future results. So as I said in the open, Amanda Burnside, who is a suspected serial arsonist, was actually arrested in connection with 3 different arsonists when a judge decided that they can't assess dangerousness in any way, shape, or form, and released Burnside without bail before eventually Burnside decided to transition into committing another crime, which happened to be armed robbery. Now, obviously, one of the things that is very of note with this story is the fact that you have a potential serial arsonist who is actually named Burnside, and number 2, the name Amanda indicates that we have a lady arsonist, which is honestly one of the more shocking aspects of the story. Now, we actually have a still image of this stunning and brave person. I will put that up for you on screen, and as you can see, there is nothing unusual or suspicious about Amanda in any way, shape, or form that might indicate the more masculine energy that is typically associated with arson. Now, as the New York Post reports, a serial arson suspect who a New York judge freed without any bail on Monday ignited, I see what you did there, you cheeky bastards over at Fox, a new investigation less than 2 hours later on armed robbery charges, according to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. Amanda Burnside, a Southampton woman who was accused of lighting fires at 3 houses, was released on her own recognizance despite prosecutors' requests that the judge set bail at $500,000 to $1 million. Now look, other than the fact that the last name of this individual is actually Burnside and they're being arrested in connection for arsons, which I find to be absolutely hilarious, and by the way, these arsons were committed at 3 separate homes. This person tried to set 3 separate homes on fire. Obviously, the reason we're doing this story, the reason we're talking about this, is due to the fact that New York State has 2 things that are working against prosecuting serious criminals like this, and it could have led to a deadly encounter. Now look, obviously you guys know bail reform. It's something that I've mentioned throughout this channel's history, throughout the course of this video, but also one of the things that makes bail reform such a big problem in the state of New York as compared to other states in the union is the fact that judges are not able to assess dangerousness when deciding whether or not to hold a particular suspect. So we have a bail reform law that guarantees a same-day automatic release for all these different people, and the only thing that could cause a judge to put a hold on somebody's release if they commit a crime within the categories of bail reform law is the belief that these individuals would flee, would not show up to court, aka escapability, which limits judges in the state of New York far beyond the limits of any other state in the union. We are the only state, 1 out of 50 states in this union, that does not allow judges to assess the dangerousness of a potential suspect, and this is why a serial arsonist was released on her own recognizance and told to report back to the court in 72 hours. However, 2 hours later, Amanda Burnside decided to transition to armed robbery. Burnside took a knife, according to the reports, into a Dollar Tree or Dollar General and attempted to commit an armed robbery where somebody could have ultimately ended up being killed. Now, a lot of people think it is quite unusual for a woman to stab somebody to death, and all I have to say to that is, no comment. To you out there in the audience that think you're gonna trick me, that think you're gonna fool me, that think you're gonna make me make this story be about something that it's not actually about, you're not fooling anyone. Although I will point out, it would be quite unusual for Amanda Burnside, somebody who's psychotic, who's violent, who's dangerous in all of these different ways that I've covered, to be sent to the women's wing of a jail, which likely would have been the result, considering the progressive nature in the state of New York and in the city of New York. This person, obviously unstable, and I'm saying that because arsons usually profile to be quite crazy, and they're actually very similar to other serious crimes that I don't even want to get into, but just think about a male, presumably that has nothing to do with this story, being put into a female prison and some of the concerns that we have in those kind of situations. Now, by the way, there are some people out there in the audience that are going to say, well, it's New York. In New York, they voted for this. I hate New York. You voted for criminality. You get criminality. Well, here's the thing. This particular county, Suffolk County, where this actually occurred, recently had an election, and in that election, Republican Ed Romaine, like the lettuce, became the first GOP county executive in Suffolk County in the last 20 years after his win. And what did he campaign on? He campaigned relentlessly following the Legend of Zeldin model against soft-on-crime policies, and the ads supporting his campaign bluntly told county residents they don't need another liberal due to, in large part, that issue, which of course is soft-on-crime policy. In fact, Republicans now control all county-wide seats in Suffolk and Nassau counties, 2 large suburbs that are east of New York City and on Long Island. They also control all 4 congressional seats in the region. So for those of you who are like, well, if New Yorkers don't like bail reform, why don't they vote to change it? Maybe check your facts, check your data, check your studies, you nerds, you losers out there, and realize that they actually did. When candidates ran tough on crime, they voted in that direction. Suffolk County and Nassau County both voted for the Legend of Zeldin. They flipped all the congressional seats to the Republican Party. The county seats are also locked up by the Republicans, so we're seeing a sea change against bail reform because contrary to what your left-wing progressives will tell you, contrary to what the BLM and Antifa types will tell you, people don't actually like crime. Even in blue states that vote blue nationally for the presidential election, there is no tolerance for this, and what I told you is true happens to be proven out by the facts, which is New Yorkers are specifically different on this issue, and that can be seen throughout our history, and it is being repeated for us before our very eyes. It is no coincidence that the Democrats had a stronghold on Suffolk County when New York saw the largest crime decline, even larger than the national average, in our nation. And now that that is being reversed, what do we see? the R team coming back where they actually run on the key important issue and taking over seats, locking it up for the first time in 2 decades. So keep letting out people like Amanda Burnside without bail. Keep releasing them on their own recognizance. Keep letting them reoffend if you dare. State officials in the state of New York, officials in the city of New York, because guess what? The tough on crime attitude is returning. The battle is in fact joined. And however funny it may be to you or me out there in the audience to have somebody called Burnside committing arsons, we're gonna lock Amanda up. We're going to send Amanda away from us right now because we don't want this person in our society and nobody wants this person in our society and we're actually fighting back. So go ahead, write down you voted for this in the comments. I dare you. I double dare you. I triple dare you. I will come to your house and lecture you on the New York State election map each and every day and twice on Sunday because we fighting back. It is real. And Amanda Burnside, you're gonna go up the river. We're sending you to Rikers. We're sending you to state. We're putting you in a different wing than the one that you identify with because that's how we roll. Now, like I said, those are just my thoughts. If you have any other thoughts or opinions, let me know down in the comments below. But as usual, if you like the video, you show me by leaving a like. You can subscribe for more content. You can follow me on all my social medias. You can support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about an arsonist transitioning into a burglar, getting arrested again 2 hours after a bail reform release. Till next time.